All right, happy Monday night, everybody. We are live talking about the weather for this week. We have a few things that we're watching. First and foremost is Saharan dust moving in later on Saturday and Sunday. That'll impact air quality and things like that, but also the trend of warmer temperatures by about Wednesday and Thursday. I think we'll be pushing right around 100 degrees. And then when you tag on the humidity, it's going to feel a lot hotter than that. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. But otherwise, it is a beautiful night. We have a few clouds overhead. Sunset was around 8:25, 8:30 earlier tonight, so about 15 minutes ago or so. We have some low clouds from the Gulf and in some areas across Wilson County, southeast of San Antonio. That did produce a couple of sprinkles and isolated showers, but a lot of it had a difficult time making it anywhere near San Antonio. But over at Morgan's Wonderland Camp, it is a clear night, and again, only a few clouds overhead. Temperatures are slow to cool right now. We're hanging in the lower 90s and upper 80s across the area. Now, speaking of 80s, it was one of the hottest Junes a couple years ago, back in 2022, June 2022. The average temperature, when you account for the morning low and the afternoon high, when you mix that in together and average it out, the average temperature a couple years ago for the month of June was 88.1. Now, let me just take this off real quick. You can see right there for 2024, so for this June, we're on pace to at least rank in the top 5 hottest Junes on record. Yeah, it's gonna be warm, and it's been warm. You know, it's been, I think like in April, we picked up like our first like 95-degree day, and then it was in May, we hit 100 degrees like in mid-May. It's just been way too warm, too early in the season. And summer just officially began on Thursday last week, so we've just been seeing more unseasonal heat a lot earlier than expected. But now we're in summertime, and it's typical we see warm temperatures. But here it is, 88.1 for the average temperature back a couple of years ago, and right now, 2024, its average temperature for the city is 86.1. And again, that ranks in the top 5 warmest June or hottest Junes on record. Okay, right now it's 92 out the door, 86 at Rock Springs, 10 degrees hotter in Del Rio, 96, more of a desert-like heat out west. It's pretty hot for 8:45 at night, 95 at Cotulla, 90 at Carrizo Springs, and we have mid-80s down southeast near Beeville, Victoria, and the Coastal Bend. Now the heat index, this is going to be a problem every day, anytime between 2 p.m. and about 7 p.m. Prime heating in the afternoon and late evening hours. That's when we'll see heat indices kind of on that range of 100 to 108, depending on where you're at. If you're in the hill country, a little less, but From San Antonio to Pearsall, for example, to Beeville, Victoria, that's where we could see heat indices upwards of 108 to 112 in some communities in the afternoons. At the moment, it is 101, the heat index or the feels like temperature. Right now at 8:46 at night, 100 triple-digit heat out west in Pearsall and Cotulla, and similar numbers across George West and Beeville. Now, we did see a few showers materialize along the sea breeze today. Let me just back out the view and show you what that looks like. We saw a couple south of Seguin. That's the closest it got to anywhere near here. And the thing is, with sea breeze showers, they're driven by daytime heat, and they're only driven by that. So they pop up and they rain out very quickly. But notice on radar and satellite, just a few showers earlier today across Wilson County right there. And it was mostly widely scattered across the coast from, let's say, McMullen County to Three Rivers to Beeville, all the way to Victoria. It's those coastal showers that try to build, but again, they don't have a lot of upper level support, so they don't last very long. As they try to approach San Antonio, they usually typically rain themselves out by the time they get here. Okay, the overnight forecast, we stay mostly cloudy after midnight, and then by tomorrow morning, 8, 9 a.m., clouds break apart. And the temperatures jump pretty fast. We're already about 83 by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I think we'll top out around 96 to 97 for Tuesday. Morning cloud cover, clearing out to a lot of sunshine. Nice day, but still unseasonably hot. Put into perspective, typical high for this time of year is 93. Instead, it'll be at 97. Hey there, Guadalupe. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Good to see you on here on Facebook. You just got rain last week. Yeah. The earth was thirsty. Our backyards, our front yards needed it. My front yard got a pretty good drink of water. I mean, the last several months have been great. Spring was beneficial, but last week was really good. I think on average it was like 1 to 3 inches around San Antonio for last week's rain from Tuesday night to Friday. It was a lot more abundant across the coast for Corpus Christi, Rockport, towards Beeville. I saw a few swaths of rain last week that exceeded 7 to 8 inches of rain. It was fast in just a few days. But still, regardless, pretty good rain last week. Don't think we're going to see anything like that anytime soon, unfortunately. It looks to be mostly dry for the next 7 to 10 days. As you saw on radar in that last slide, maybe a couple of coastal showers, but a lot of them are just going to fizzle out by the time they get anywhere near here. If there is a rain chance in the next few days, it's 10%, and that's only coastal rain trying to make a run for the I-35 corridor. Otherwise, we stay mostly dry, hot, sunny, and highs in the upper 90s. It's going to be a hot day for tomorrow. Okay, here's the reason why. You can see high pressure pretty much staying our main player in the weather department between now and Thursday. It will weaken briefly, maybe by Friday, but it comes back in full force by this weekend in a different location. So at the moment, it's out west near New Mexico, Arizona, West Texas. But by this weekend, it shifts a little bit farther east towards Florida, the Carolinas. But notice Texas is still within its reach and its grip. So I think even by the weekend, despite a weakening high at first, it strengthens back into a really large ridge of high pressure. And then by Saturday and Sunday, while it will be east and not right overhead, it will still be strong enough to produce upper 90s, right around 100 in some areas. And then with that southeast fetch from the Gulf of Mexico, it's going to mean high humidity values and high heat index values as well. So the heat is not going anywhere. Watch as I put that in motion into next Monday, so 8, 9 days out from now. It still continues to be pretty stagnant. It doesn't really break apart all that much in the extended forecast. Now, as it moves farther east and creates that hot pattern for most of the U.S., including us, by the weekend, upper 90s, right around 100, higher heat index values. This will also open the door for a little bit of dust to move in. Now, in the summertime, June, July, August, Saharan dust, because of the trade winds, the hot air, the trade winds help transport dust across the Atlantic. It's like 5,000 miles from here to the coast of Africa. But that's where the dust originates, from Africa, and it travels across the Atlantic because of those westerly winds, and they get transported all the way into the Caribbean, to Cuba, to Florida, to southern Mexico, and then eventually, if it makes it into the Gulf of Mexico, usually our southeast winds, the pattern will pick it up and move it in our direction. So by this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, that's when we could see a small plume of Saharan dust, the first batch of the season. We'll typically get a few rounds of it through July and August. It's just typical this time of year. So it looks like by this weekend, we'll see our first round of it. Doesn't look like it's going to be a large plume of Saharan dust on that legend you can see in the top left-hand corner. When you get in those brighter yellows and the brighter whites, that's more of a dense, larger concentration of dust. So by this weekend, probably a small to moderate level of Saharan dust in the atmosphere. And you'll see that it will create hazy sunshine. What's cool about it, it creates really nice sunsets and sunrises. They almost act as a reflector in the atmosphere. And when you have dust around, yes, you lower the air quality, but what you do in the evening hours as the sun sets or as it rises, it helps scatter the light, and you get those vibrant pink, yellow, fuchsia colors in the atmosphere. So if you're big into photography and you want to take some cool sunset photos, this weekend will be a good time. As sundown, right, this time of year is around 8:30, 8:45 in the evenings. But that'll be the big takeaway. We'll see a break in Saharan dust by Sunday night into Monday, but it looks like by Monday night into next Tuesday, early next week, that's when we'll see more dust return, and that will impact the air quality again. So if you suffer from any respiratory illness, COPD, emphysema, any labored breathing like asthma, sometimes the dust can definitely have an impact on your body if you're kind of sensitive to that kind of thing. So this weekend, Saturday and early Sunday, that's when the first round moves in. Another batch of dust moves in probably Monday night into early Tuesday. That'll be the second round. And again, that'll impact our air quality for a few days here in San Antonio. And the higher concentrations of dust will be along the coast, from, let's say, Galveston to Corpus Christi down to the Rio Grande Valley. That's where we're expecting more of a denser concentration of dust as it moves in from the Gulf of Mexico. All right, we need more rain, Kathy. Yeah, I know we do. We do. We could use a lot more. We're doing great. Last week's rain actually helped us get us to average for the year. Like, we're halfway through the year of 2024, and last week's rain from Alberto did some awesome work on our, it really took away a lot of the drought. We're getting another drought report this upcoming Thursday. We get it every Thursday. And so far, last week's drought, nothing out east of San Antonio. We're still in a severe category of drought in Bexar County, but it has vastly improved over the last several months. And these rounds of tropical rain only help even more. So right now, though, the 14-day looks to be fairly dry. You can see right here, there it is, upper 90s through Thursday. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a heat advisory issued for tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. So far, nothing from the Weather Service, but with air temperature near 97 to 98 through Thursday, and then you tag on the high dew point, the high humidity values, it'll feel more like 104 to 108. It's going to be extremely hot and even more humid. So something to keep in mind if you're spending a long duration outdoors. Stay hydrated first and foremost. Try and drink a bottle of water per hour, one per hour, because that really helps. If you're working outside, if you know anybody working outside, or if you're going out to the river for any recreational use, things like that, drinking water helps, because this heat, despite it not being triple-digit heat, it will feel like temperatures will be like in the 105 region. So it's going to be extremely hot. 96 Friday. Most days this upcoming week will have a small chance for rain, just how you saw on radar earlier. A couple of coastal showers. We'll try to make a run for the I-35 corridor. But right now, we're just not putting it in the forecast through Thursday. Slightly better chance on Friday as that ridge breaks down. That'll allow for some room from the Gulf to kind of push in our sea breeze, and that may touch off an isolated storm. But again, 10% is not all that impressive. This Saturday and Sunday, mid-90s, probably some Saharan dust, low concentration of it. Limit time outdoors if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. Next Monday, 95, and then we stay in that regime, kind of routine, mid-90s through Thursday, through the 4th of July. And then it looks like by not this upcoming weekend, but the following weekend into July 6th, July 7th, that's when I think the ridge of high pressure will be right overhead, and that'll really amplify the heat. So again, early July to August is climatologically kind of the hottest time of year. Average high is about 94 to 95. for the city for late June, early July. So we're trending way above average. Tomorrow will be about 3 to 4 degrees above normal. Same thing with Wednesday, Thursday, and even this weekend. Maybe a couple of degrees not as hot on Saturday, but still trending way above average overall. And only a couple of coastal showers to get excited about. And then you'll see by the 4th of July, very comparable to previous 4th of Julys. Mid-90s, partly cloudy, sunny, light breeze out there, and just a humid pattern from the Gulf of Mexico. All right, so that's the 14-day forecast. Guadalupe, you're very welcome. Hope you have a great week as well. You say cool too. It is going to be extremely hot, as you can see on the 14-day. No big signs of relief in the forecast, unfortunately. You can see, if anything, it only gets a little hotter by early July, which is expected. Probably, flirting with 100 degrees by next weekend, upper 90s, lower 100s. And then again, when you factor in the humidity, it feels a lot hotter than that. We'll leave it on the 14-day a little longer, guys. Have a great Monday night. Have a great week. Stay hydrated, stay cool, drink plenty of water. And we'll see you tonight on Ken's 5 News at 10 for the latest on local news, weather, sports, and everything you need to know around San Antonio. Make it a great week, and we'll see you later.